So there's an Earthship. How many of you guys have heard of Earthships? An Earthship that is going to be constructed on this property, correct? I'm going to let Chad tell you about it. I'm not going to steal his thunder, but just give you a little bit of setup here. So Earthship construction and off-grid autonomy has been a goal and dream of Chad's for many, many years. Given the immense emergency situation that was 2020 and the ongoing disaster of our time, he says, he's been forced to kick those plans into massive overdrive. And the massive is in all uppercase. It's massive. He took the online Earthship Academy after the shutdown ruined his plans for attending the hands-on sessions in Taos, New Mexico. As things have unfolded, it became abundantly clear that Mexico is a great place to experiment with off-grid autonomy, and he would begin his work immediately. How immediately? At this conference. So, Chad Schwartz, once he's done taping that to your face, come on up here and tell us all about it.
All right, everybody. All right, hello, everybody. All right, are we all having a good time at the conference here? Yes, awesome. All right. I first came to Anarchapulco a year ago. I was an attendee at the conference. This year, they've invited me on to speak. It's been a very crazy year, hasn't it, with the shutdown? I've been here in Acapulco the whole time. Unfortunately, I cannot return to my old life until the shutdown ends. So I've decided to just stay here in Mexico and stay busy. I've been busy here with Earthships. I'm going to explain that stuff to you today. So before I get started, I just wanted to give a very big thank you to all of you for showing up here, because I know what it's like to try to travel during a shutdown. So you guys made it here in this very difficult time. So congratulations for escaping and making it down here. I'm glad that you're here. All right, so I've got a lot to get through in 45 minutes. I'm going to move quickly. You're all going to learn a lot here. All right, so I am Chad. I'm an associate of Earthship BITECTURE. That's the logo right there. Earthship BITECTURE is the company that invented Earthships and builds them all over the globe. I'm going to turn on my timer here. I am also currently managing an Earthship-inspired construction project that will benefit the local orphanage, the orphans that you saw here earlier. Our project is going to be benefiting them. So we're building our Earthship about 2 minutes walk from this very spot. You can come over and see us. All right, my website is triviumlinguistics.com, so here we go. All right, by brief show of hands here, who here is familiar with Earthships? Anybody? We've heard of them before, seen them on YouTube. Nice. All right, nice. Some people know a lot about them. Some people don't know anything at all. Don't worry, my presentation will be for all of you here today. You will all get something out of this. I'm going to explain to you what Earthships are, why you need to care about them, and what is being done with Earthships right here in Acapulco. All right, the name of today's talk is, I'll get to that in a second. Before I get into Earthships, I need to quickly give the definition of the word anarchist. For all the people watching on video in the future, I need to disambiguate the true definition of the word from the mainstream stereotype. An anarchist is a person who solves problems without the use of state or any other form of coercion. That's what I mean by anarchist. Back to Earthships. The name of today's talk is called Earthship Autonomy. I know the word autonomy is a big buzzword these days. We hear it all over the place. But what does that word mean? We're going to talk about that in my presentation here. We see the word safe. This is the Earthship maxim. It's their catchphrase. It means sustainable autonomy for everyone. We see the word autonomy right there in the middle, right? What does autonomy mean? Autonomy means being able to take care of yourself and all of your basic needs without any exterior control. That's my definition of autonomy. What are these basic needs? We all have basic needs, right? We are humans in the modern world. We all need water, food, comfortable heating and cooling. We need materials to make shelters with, electricity, treatment of our waste. You cannot do anything else in life without these basic needs met. Keep this in mind for the liberty movement, right? We're all getting into crypto, health and wellness, which is all great stuff. But until we get this stuff in our realm of autonomy, we're not going anywhere. We all remember Maslow's hierarchy from health class, right? Your health teacher will be very proud of you right now. We see our basic needs down here at the bottom. I have heard it argued that things like self-defense and freedom belong here at the bottom as well with our basic needs. I agree. However, I'm going to argue that in this physical world we live in, the concept of freedom is deeply interlinked with all of your basic needs. if somebody else controls your basic needs, you don't have freedom. So, all right, you guys saying, go back, we messed up everything. All right, so are we doing a good job with our autonomy in regards to our basic resources? No, we are not. For example, water. Do we have autonomy with a good, clean, and reliable source of water? No, most people in the world do not. Even people who live in wealthy neighborhoods don't really trust their water supply. So we need to, Earthships challenge us to go back and see where we can improve. All right, so here we see a complicated web of relations. We see all of our basic needs and these bizarre entities in the middle. We see the state and corporations, and we see all of our needs. I'm going to direct your attention right here to the little conventional home and family down there at the bottom of the screen. Conventional homes, like the ones you guys live in, they're designed to waste heating and cooling energy. They're designed to waste water. A modern-day home is designed for a life of servitude, waste, bad health, and debt. Even the word mortgage is a French word, and it means death contract. I always thought that a home was supposed to help you get by in life, not keep you trapped with a death contract. So we see a complicated web of relations between the resources we need and these entities in the middle. We cannot get these resources without these guys in the middle the way things are right now. So in this situation, who's in charge? Who's in control? Are you in control? No, you are not in control of anything in this scenario. You got to pay tribute to these guys in the middle. Got to pay those utility bills using dollar bills, and then send them right there to Bill, right there in the middle. What else did I want to say here? But who's responsible for your basic needs? Are the state and corporations, are they responsible for you? No, they are not. Neither the state nor the grid are responsible for you or your basic needs. It's all of your responsibility to know where this stuff comes from and how to get it, but most people don't know. It's our responsibility. All right, so I'm going to keep on moving here. What did I want to say here? This is very important to understand. If somebody else dominates your basic resources, you will be under their control and influence. You do not have freedom if somebody else controls your basic resources. At the top, I said, as long as we rely on the establishment's grid and supply lines for our vital resources, we will be at their mercy. Freedom means having the ability to say no. I heard that many years ago, and I've never forgotten it. All right, a picture says 1,000 words, right? So the people who truly wield power in this world are the people who control your access to your vital resources. Not just these guys. You got the Bush family, Nestle Water, ExxonMobil. If you think you are not under the control of these type of people, you are terribly mistaken. And the bigger truth is, it does not need to be this way. All right, this is a much nicer picture. This is an Earthship in relation to all of your basic needs. So you see the Earthship in the middle. The Earthship gives you all of your basic resources. So this is much different than the last web we looked at, right? Remember the last one had these guys in the middle? Oh no, look how lonely they are. They've got nothing there. Where did they go? I don't know. So the state and corporations are gone. What did I want to say here? Earthships make states and corporations irrelevant when it comes to your basic needs. Much like how cryptocurrency decentralizes control over money, Earthships decentralize control over our vital resources. Energy, water, and food independence is absolutely vital. Energy and water literally fall from the sky. Sorry, my mic's a little bit messed up here. Energy and water literally fall from the sky. All we need can you hear me okay? All we need to do is do a good job catching and storing that water that falls from the sky. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, the microphone's falling off here. Sorry about that. All right, they need to come tape this in here. God damn it. All right, so we'll keep on going here. All right, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. All right, so I wanted to talk about freedom cells. We've all heard of freedom cells. In my opinion, autonomous buildings like Earthships need to be an integral part of any freedom cell. We're going to keep on going here. This is the interior of the Simple Survival Earthship that I stayed in many years ago. I did an internship at the Earthship community. This building is called a Simple Survival building. And very cool little building. I'm going to keep on going. Oh, God damn it. All right, so I've got a lot to get through, so I'm going to stick to the script. The important images are right up here. Just watch the screen. There is... what do I want to say here? There is a spectrum of quality and size when it comes to Earthships. Some are designed for emergency third world survival, some are made for middle-class American families, and some nicer ones are made for millionaire celebrities. This spectrum opens up a world of possibility that is not necessarily limited by money. This is called a zero-cost hut model, and it is designed for third world survival. Our first build here in Mexico, this is the zero-cost model. Our first build here in Mexico will be similar, but of a nicer quality. All right. So our first build in Mexico is going to be a bit similar to this one. This one is called a packaged model. This one is designed to pass building code inspections in the United States, can take care of a family about 4 people off-grid, no frills, but will begin to do the job of getting off-grid. This one is called a global model. It's much nicer, can take care of a much larger family more efficiently. This is still more expensive than a conventional home, though, so we're still having some obstacles there. All right, now we're going to look at the high-end models. These are the nice ones. This one's called the Phoenix Building, an incredible off-grid palace, basically. They've got the Amazon rainforest growing in the greenhouse, exotic tropical fish in the fish pond, just an incredible place to go and visit. All right, this one here is not an Earthship. This is called an Earth Yacht. It was owned by a millionaire celebrity, a guy by the name of Dennis Weaver. All right, by show of hands here, who here remembers or who here's ever heard of Dennis Weaver? Anybody? Okay, wow. Okay, Dennis Weaver, a bit before my time, but very cool guy. All right, Dennis Weaver was an actor, like a John Wayne, Clint Eastwood type of cowboy actor. He was on Gunsmoke and in cowboy movies. This guy loved the Earthship concept, and he did a lot to bring Earthships into the mainstream. So he had this incredible building made, and he made a video about it. It's on YouTube. I recommend going watch it, called Dennis Weaver's Earthship. It's a fun one, and we're actually going to try to watch a clip of it now. Are we ready to watch the video? Hello? Can we watch a video? No? Okay. Yeah, we're going to watch a very short clip from Dennis Weaver's Earthship, and it's just going to help explain what I was showing about the spectrum of Earthships, the size and quality of different Earthships. You can make small ones, big ones, and you're going to see in the video they're pounding tires.
Just a little bit on that side.
Yep.
You know, we're going to have over 2,400 tires in this house, and we're going to have all the walls up in a little over a month. And that's with a crew that really has no special building skills that Michael has trained in just a few hours.
How's that look?
Perfect. If I can learn it, anybody can. That's what I like about this process. It's so easy. Now remember, we get these tires for free. That means that we can build anything from low-cost housing to shelters for the homeless to this 6,000 square foot luxury home.
End of the video. Okay, I guess I can click back over. All right, so I showed that one because he spoke. He said, right? He said we can build anything from homeless shelters to luxury homes. So that's a great thing about Earthships. They're not necessarily limited by money the same way that conventional homes are. And you saw he was pounding a tire in there. I'm going to explain to you later on why we use tires. The main reason why we use tires is because they're ubiquitous. They're everywhere around the world. Third world people can go grab tires right away and start building the home. That's one of the main reasons why we use them. All right, so we just looked at all the economic options for Earthships, third world survival, nice ones. So what we need to talk about is what is stopping most people from getting started with getting autonomy with their basic needs. What's stopping us here? What's wrong? What's stopping us? We got laws and regulations, building code permits. Who here loves building code permits? Anybody? No, one guy. Okay, all right. All right, very lonely. All right, yeah. Building code permits in the United States. I'm from New Jersey. You'd probably get about 20 years in prison for trying to build an Earthship there, so I wouldn't recommend that. But here in Mexico, building permits, they're going to laugh at you if you ask about building code permits. They just don't care. And money here in Mexico, it doesn't cost that much, right? What's stopping most people? Most people look at the price of an Earthship and they look at all the bureaucracy and they can't do it. We as anarchists, we need to be opening up doors for people to get going with their autonomy in these regards. So my build, we're going to try to make a cheap one, very inexpensive as possible, and we're going to find a way to get around building code permits. All right, so keep on going here. What's the next one here? All right, Anarchapulco to the rescue. What do I want to say here? Where are we at? All right, so Earthships, by their very nature, are very challenging, expensive, and time-consuming to build. It is not for the fair-weathered faint of heart. However, our build is aimed at starting with the very basics, with the most simple ways to get started. Keep it simple, stupid. Here we go. The benefits of building in Mexico. Mexico has few regulations for these types of structures. Cost of land and labor is low. Earthships are easy to build in warm climates. No bank loans or red tape. All right, so this is a zero-cost model. Ours is going to look similar to it, but it's going to have a much nicer finish. What do I want to say here? We will improve the look of this model. We're going to be taking this third world survival. We're going to make it look nicer. This hill here is called a berm, B-E-R-M. We're going to improve the look of it. We're going to cover up the tires, make it look nice. We're going to call the name of this house, because here in Mexico, you have to name your house, right? We're going to call this Casa de Medio Mundo. That means House of Middle Earth in Spanish. 2 reasons for this. 1, the obvious hobbit hole kind of look at the house. Also, because Earthship BITECTURE refers to any location on Earth, north or south of the equator, 15 degrees near the equator, they call that Middle Earth. So we're naming it House of Middle Earth. All right, what's next here? We met the orphans that were here earlier, right? Our build is going to be benefiting the orphans. The plan has changed very often due to the shutdown and everything. But it looks like we're going to be able to teach these kids hands-on how to build Earthships. They're going to be coming onto the site here. We weren't sure if this was going to happen because there was a shutdown. We thought we were going to have to teach them remotely, but it turns out that that's not the case. So our build, we're going to be teaching the kids how to build this, and then we're going to put the building on Airbnb, and the funds are all going to go right to the orphan to benefit the orphans. It's going to be an ongoing source of funds for them. So check in back with us if you're more interested to hear more from that. All right, and as I said, I'm going to teach you all the 6 principles. We just did our introduction. The 6 principles of Earthships: water, food, heating, cooling, materials, electricity, sewage. I'm going to go through each one and tell you why you need to improve with autonomy and how we're doing it here. All right, water independence. Here we go. Let me go back here. All right. Water is the most important of our needs. What is water? Water is the universal solvent. It transports matter from one point in the universe to another. 70% of the human body is made up of water. Coincidentally, more than 70% of Earth is covered in water. I'm getting through a lot, so I'm just going to skip to the script here. You can watch the screen here. All right, Earthships do an incredible job with the catchment, storage, and efficient use of water. This may seem simple, yet to do it properly is a science. We will discuss all of this in this section. All right. So what are the potential problems that can go wrong with your water? What can go wrong with grid water? For example, electricity. Water is pumped through the grid with electricity. If you have electricity problems, you have water problems. Economic problems create grid water problems. Ecological damage creates grid water problems. Political corruption, technical problems. Those are things that can interfere with your water supply to some degree or another, probably happening right now. All right. I'm going to skip through here. But Earthships do an incredible job of transcending those problems. If you want water independence, I recommend paying attention to how we do this here. If you want water independence, your water autonomy, there are 5 major considerations you must know about. Roof configuration, roof material, silt catchment, cistern type, water organizing module. We're going to go through all of these. Please pay attention. If you want water independence, you need to do this stuff. The first consideration is your roof configuration. The surface area of your roof will determine the volume of water that you're able to capture. The slope of your roof. Is it north sloping or south sloping? That matters in cold winters. If it's too sloped, if it's too steep, the water is going to splash out of your gutters. This roof has a gentle slope, so the water will slowly fill into these cisterns down here at the bottom. So first concern is roof configuration. The second concern is roof material. Let me see here. What I say about roof material. The roof must not have any harsh or toxic elements that can contaminate your water supply. Tar and shingles on conventional homes are not good. These are called pro panels. They're used on Earthships, stainless steel. These roofs are ideal for catching water. In warm climates like Mexico, you can use concrete and cement tiles, but remember that those crack in cold climates. If those crack, you're going to have a leak in your house, and you don't want that. All right. The next consideration is silt catchment. These red things on top of the cistern, those are called scuppers. Scuppers are filled with rocks and gravel. They slow down the flow of water from your roof, and they catch all the scum and silt. I know that looks disgusting there, but the more dirty and disgusting the scuppers look, the more clean your cistern is going to be. They keep all the gunk out of your water supply, so you want to see them right there. All right, the fourth concern is your cistern type. Where are you going to be storing your water long term? Very important. You can use these big plastic cisterns. A lot of people are worried about plastic with BPMs, but these cisterns are big and strong. They're covered in dirt, so they're in darkness. The BPMs do not break down for several reasons, so these cisterns are safe for storing water. The fifth consideration is called your water organizing module, your WOM. So you can see in the corner there, the cisterns flow into this thing called your WOM. It's very complicated. I don't have time to get into that in this presentation. I'll do this in the future, but you see a little 12-volt DC pump right there. You see some filters and some takeoff points for your household water supply. That's called your WOM. I'll teach that some other day, next presentation. So how does water flow through Earthships? First in the corner, you see you use it, take a shower, you wash your hands, whatever. Then it becomes gray water. Gray water enters your botanical cell, your greenhouse in the front, and the gray water is used for feeding your plant roots, your vegetable plant roots use that gray water for nutrition. So you're using the water, and then you're watering your plant roots with it, and then down here it goes through a peat moss filter, and then it comes out a little bit more clear at the bottom. Then it is pumped into the back of your toilet, and you use that for flushing water. And then after so here's a better image. So you take a shower, the shower water waters your plants. That's called gray water. Some people are turned off by that. They think it's disgusting, but actually shower water, plants love the stuff that falls off your body, your hair, all the dirt that falls off you in the shower. Plants love that stuff. That's nutrition for them. So this is actually a great way of growing vegetables. And then it's pumped. You got pumps right here. One pump recirculates the water. One pumps it into the back of the toilet. And then after you flush the toilet, it needs to leave the house. It's black water, and you can have an outdoor leach field with useful landscaping plants. So it's used 4 times. You use it, you water your plant roots, you flush your toilet, and then it's used for outdoor landscaping. It works incredibly well in Earthships. So Earthships are very efficient. Conventional homes are too wasteful. You can't go off-grid in a conventional home because they're too wasteful. The average person uses 84 gallons of water a day in a conventional home. The average person in an Earthship uses 19 gallons per day. This reduction allows us to live off of captured rainwater in a cistern. So yeah, with water and electricity, conventional homes, you cannot go off-grid. But if you learn some cool little hacks, then your house is more efficient, you can go off-grid. The next is food autonomy. Very, very important. After water, you need food. So let's take a look at this one. So the importance of food autonomy. This is less than a year ago in San Antonio, Texas. People ran out of food because of the shutdown. They did not take their food autonomy seriously, so they had to rely on the state and God knows who. Please do not be like these people. Please think about your food autonomy. Earthships begin to address that issue. As we saw in the gray water section, Earthships gray water is used for growing vegetables in Earthships. We should aim to grow the most nutrient-dense and fast-growing plants that we can in order to ensure food autonomy. Earthships primarily produce plant-based food as well as some aquaponic production, some fish products. Aquaponics is the use of fish and vegetables living in a closed system. Vegetable roots purify the water and fish produce the nutrients for the plants. These are called IBC totes, internationally bound cargo. They're used for moving liquid all around the world. You can repurpose them for making a food production system, fish and vegetables. Just make sure you're using a food-grade IBC tote. You don't want one that's had chemicals in it. Here's one up in Canada, growing food here. Now, I have limited time in this presentation. I don't have time to go through all the ways that the corporations and government, why you shouldn't trust them with your food supply. So I'm going to give recommendations. I'm actually going to be handing out a flyer later on. It's going to have a lot of our information and recommendations and stuff. If you want to know more about why you should not trust your food supply, what did I want to say here? The documentaries Dominion and Earthlings reveal the truth about the factory farm industry. Watch these movies. I guarantee you will want food autonomy after you watch these movies. For podcast listeners, the Dangerous History podcast. Has anybody ever heard of it? Oh, yeah, it's one of my favorites. Episode 87 is called Grain and the State. Does an incredible job of breaking down the power structure. The people, the powers that be, they control your food supply. Listen to that episode. It's very interesting. One final word here. I'm not going to beat this. I just want to say this. Just a brief word to the wise about factory farm food. Natural law is real, karma is real, the non-aggression principle is real. As long as we do this horrifying shit to other sentient beings, the same will be done to us in turn, guaranteed. That is all I will say about that. All right, so I asked my friends, back to Earthships, I asked my friends who owned Earthships, I went around and said, can you guys give me some wintertime shots so you can see snow and ice on the ground outside? I wanted to show how powerful Earthships are. You can grow incredible exotic fruit and vegetables in the dead of winter, so you'll see snow and ice and just beautiful plants growing here. Small banana tree and bananas, and you can see snow and ice. They're growing bananas in the dead of winter. Yeah, this is a cool one. Banana tree, melons, tomatoes, and all that snow piling up in the dead of winter. Keep in mind, there is no energy or fuel heating these homes. This is all being done. These plants are being kept warm through passive solar energy and just use the earth energy, so no fuel. Also, this food, there's no sales tax, no transportation, no none of that stuff. So voluntarists, agorists, and stuff like that, you're not paying any taxes on this food. Just think about that. Here's a strawberry, and you can see the snow piling up on the window out there. Very cool shots there. What did I want to say? Yeah, a lot of people say that vegetables and fish, it's not enough for your continual food supply. And you're right, you don't have to stick to this diet entirely. This is just your base nutrition. You can still order pizza and whatever. But just a quick anecdote about nutrition. A lot of people say you need dairy and meat in order to live. They say Earthship systems are not good enough. In terms of health and longevity, the people on this earth who live the longest and healthiest lives, they're in Okinawa, Japan. They live well into their hundreds. They have the oldest, longest, they have the best longevity and health anywhere in the world. They eat largely vegetables and small amounts of fish. So the food that these people eat, it's like the same exact diet that Earthships produce. So I'm not going to get too much into that, but Earthships allow you to produce the same type of food that, like the Okinawan diet, and that lets people live the longest and healthiest lives on the face of the earth. So Earthship food systems are very powerful. I just wanted to throw that in there. All right, I just want to watch my time here. On to my favorite. I just want to watch my time here. Oh, man. All right, so this is my favorite topic to talk about. This is off-grid heating and autonomy here. Here, sorry about that. So here, what do we see in the image? We see the outline of a conventional home, and we see somebody using electricity to heat and cool their homes. Earthships do not use any electricity to heat and cool the homes. No fuel, no electricity. It's all natural. This is why we're able to go off-grid. We don't need to use all that electricity for heating and cooling. How many people here love paying utility bills for heating and cooling? Oh, okay, one crazy guy there. Okay, you can pay my bills? Yes? Okay, right on. Thank you. Yeah, but the truth is, it's not necessary. It's been figured out. Off-grid home heating and cooling has been figured out. I will explain it to you now. You need to know about passive solar. I need to stick to my notes here to keep on going through this here. So passive solar heating allows homeowners to collect, absorb, and distribute the sun's energy through windows, greenhouses, as well as solar collection devices. This next picture, illustrates how passive solar works. At the bottom, we see an Earthship in relation to the sun's angle of illumination. This is on December 22nd, the winter solstice. The sunlight reaches deep inside the Earthship. Imagine being here on Christmas, right? The longest and darkest day of the year. You can see the sun angle reaches deep into the Earthship and heats up your back wall. This, let me see what I want to say here. That brings the sunlight into your home during the coldest, darkest nights of the year. The opposite happens up on the top. This is in June on the summer solstice. The sun angle in the afternoon is way up there. It doesn't reach into your house. So this simple method of angling your home is optimal for home heating and cooling. But it's not just that. Here's the angle of the solstices and equinoxes, how the angle strikes your house. If you want to go off-grid, you need to know about that stuff here. All right, this is pretty cool. This is the sun's path. This is from Fairbanks, Alaska, looking south. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west on the winter solstice. As you can see, there's not much sun out there at all. You can imagine trying to collect energy in this location. It's not going to work very well. But what if we go further south from Alaska, further down south? Here's the UK on the winter solstice. Same day, but the sun's not down here, it's up here. And if we were in Acapulco, Mexico on the same day, the sun would be way up here. So it might seem simplistic, but if you want to go off-grid, you need to know about this stuff. It's profoundly important. Let me go on to the next one here. If you want energy independence, you need to know about this stuff. This is a really cool picture. This is the entire solar year in one image taken with a special camera. If you were to stand in a field throughout an entire year, winter, summer, day and night, and if you could blink one eye, and that's the whole year. This is the sun's path, everything the sun gives us in a year. Each little streak of light is 1 day, so that's like a whole year, 365 days. That's the sun's path throughout the year. Winter, summer, fall. Pretty cool image. This here is called the Wheel of the Year. Passive solar architecture relies on knowledge about the flow of sunlight throughout the year. The duration and angles of sunlight change throughout the year. This is all shown on the Wheel of the Year. The solstices and equinoxes, so the winter solstice is up here, equinox is here. It might be a lot to take in, but it's very important. Solstices and equinoxes and everything in between. This is also where we get our holidays. Halloween, Christmas, even Groundhog's Day, Easter. It all comes from the Wheel of the Year. But we still use this stuff for Earthship window angling. Passive solar construction is nothing new. Some of the oldest structures ever built by man have had passive solar architecture. Structures such as this pyramid at Giza. It has 8 sides which are aligned with 8 points of the Wheel of the Year. All sides of this pyramid are aligned with the winter solstices and, the solstices and equinoxes here. Even the word pyramid, it's a heat reference. Pyramid. Pyro, like pyromaniac. Pyramid means heat in the middle. That's where the word pyramid comes from. It's a reference to heat energy. So just like the Wheel of the Year has 8 sides, this pyramid actually has 8 sides, and it's lined up with the solstices and equinoxes. I'm not trying to bore you with a history lesson, but if you want energy independence, you need to know all about this stuff. These ancient structures are telling you everything you need to know. A very quick one here is a place called Newgrange, built by Neolithic farmers. Its entranceway is aligned directly with the winter solstice. Neolithic Christmas lights here. So the entranceway is lined up with the sunrise of the winter solstice. This is the same trick that keeps Earthships warm throughout the winter. They're wise with how they line up with the solstice. So this was invented 5,000 years ago and still used in Earthships today. All right. So Stonehenge as well. What do I want to say here? Stonehenge. All over the place here. Stonehenge as well was just basically a giant sundial instructing us on how energy flows from the sun during different times of the year. It is very important to design the building so that the winter solstice sunlight can hit the back. It's important that the sunlight from the winter solstice can come in here and hit the back wall. If the winter solstice sunlight is not hitting your back wall, you're going to have a very cold winter. So that's how that works. The Wheel of the Year. I just want to roll this in again. What do I want to say here? Here we see the Wheel of the Year. One more time, the 8 dates of the year. It's just critical to understand. If you want energy independence, if you want free energy, you need to understand all of this stuff. This is how it's done. All right, so a pounded tire weighs well over 200 pounds. That is very dense. Here we see the sun's energy hitting a tire wall, which is sealed behind a wall of cement. Dense walls have the ability to absorb and store heat energy, as we see the sun's energy heating up this tire wall. The heat will stay inside these dense tires for a long time. The heat will be slowly released. These dirt-filled tires will store the sun's energy. A useful analogy is to think of an Earthship like a thermos, right? Because conventional homes, you have to spend a lot of money. I don't know what that, 10 minutes left? Okay, thank you. Yeah, this is, you can think of an Earthship like a thermos. Earthships do an incredible job keeping heat energy locked in. Conventional homes don't do this. Conventional homes are too wasteful. And then the heat releases throughout the night. Conventional homes do not do that. They're too wasteful. The heat energy just goes up and out of them. Same thing with cooling energy. They're just designed to waste energy. How do you keep the building cool, though, in the summertime, right? Because here in Mexico, it's going to be very hot. So we have some special tricks that we're using for cooling off the Earthship. Over here, this is called a cooling tube, and it brings in the Earth's temperature. The tube goes through the hill, the berm on the far side of the Earthship. I didn't have it here. But the tube absorbs the Earth's cool temperature. If you dig down about 5 or 6 feet below the frost line, the Earth's temperature is about 58 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty cool. If you can do a good job of conveying that into the house, it goes up and out of the house. This is the inside of a cooling tube. We're going to experiment with a new cooling tube invention that was just invented in Haiti. All right, can I get the next video, the last video? Hello. Video? Okay, thank you. This video is just this new type of cooling tube was just invented. The guy in this video.
We're going to bury the tubes as much as we can. We ran out of dirt. So right now the tubes are buried, with maybe 16 inches of earth, but eventually we're going to bury pretty much to the top of these with 3 feet of earth, trying to really get into that ground temperature. And then here's the end of the tube, and it looks pretty good. And I think this is, yeah, so we have a removable screen here that keeps rats and mosquitoes and everything out of them. And then maybe we could get a shot up in the tube. There's not a lot of light there, but there you can see the interior pretty well of the tube. And it's just all slick trout. And I think it was a great move. It allowed us. It was super easy to manipulate them however we wanted. Like we can turn corners with this technique. We could curve around things, and we can make them go whatever direction we want, whatever length we want. So this was a cool new innovation that happened here in the field.
All right, the guy in that video, his name was Phil Basehart. He's one of the head honchos at Earthship BITECTURE. I've worked with that guy on a site before. He knows his stuff really well. If that guy says these cooling tubes work well in hot locations like Haiti, it's going to work here. So we're going to try this cooling tube method on our building site. Anybody wants to come learn this, you can. We're going to be doing this over the next couple of days. Anybody wants to help, if you know cement and rebar, stuff like that, we would love to have you on the site. But this is an experimental thing we're trying here because that's what they're trying with Earthship BITECTURE. Our build, how do you keep a building cool in a hot place, right? That's going to be a big challenge in Mexico. We have a few tricks. Underneath our building, we're going to have a body of water, like a cistern of water. And if you have a big body of water inside of a home, it tends to suck the heat out of a home. So that's one of the tricks that keeps Earthships cool in hot places. Also, you have a skylight, and the hotter the skylight gets, actually the more convection kicks up. It's kind of complicated, but we have a couple little tricks that we're going to give a try here. And if it doesn't work well, we'll try it again. We'll improve it every Earthship we build. We're going to be building lots and lots of Earthships more. We're not just building this one. We're going to be doing this for a long time here. Okay, I don't know why the Y went down there, whatever. So, electricity autonomy. Sorry about that. Let's see here. So, electricity autonomy. Just for this background image, I chose this picture of Benjamin Franklin with the famous key experiment. Benjamin Franklin, very interesting guy. I chose this picture because Benjamin Franklin definitely shook things up in his lifetime, right? Made the world better, helped a lot with the decentralization of how things work on this world. So I thought electricity. I said, oh, I'll put a picture of him on there. That'll fit. So I'm going to skip to the script here. All right, what is electricity? Electricity is just the flow of electrons. We use this flow of electrons in order to create power for our lives. Electricity can be a bit difficult. It can be a difficult concept to understand. A useful analogy is to think of electricity like water and the way that water flows. Voltage of power is like the height of water in a container of water. The size of the pipe is like your volts and amps. It's a little bit complicated, but we're trying to make a fun way to teach water because we're going to teach the orphans at the orphanage how electricity works, right? So we're trying to come up with fun little hands-on ways of teaching how electricity works. We're trying to think of this water analogy. Anybody who wants to help us make this teaching material for the kids, come talk to me after the presentation here. All right, so let me keep on moving here. In order to understand how Earthships are able to collect sufficient power for our daily lives, you must understand the difference between AC power and DC power. Solar panels collect DC power. It's important to understand. Bit of a tough concept, but alternating current, AC power, the electrons go back and forth 60 times per second. They alternate from positive to negative. DC does not. It just goes round in a big circle. I know that's a lot for some people, but that's all right. Now, what did I want to say here? Grid power is AC, not DC, but solar panels collect DC power, but the grid is AC. The difference between DC and AC power is quite simple. DC energy does not transmit well over long distances on the grid. This was made famous by the feud between Tesla and Edison. Edison was more of a businessman. Tesla was the real scientist. Tesla proved that grid energy must be AC in order to transmit power over hundreds of miles. DC power cannot do this. Solar panels collect DC energy. So when politicians try to hook up DC solar panels into the grid, into wasteful conventional homes, obviously, it doesn't work. Tesla told us this. We see these politicians trying to plug the solar panels into the grid and saying, oh, it doesn't work. Obviously, it doesn't frickin' work. Tesla told us that a long time ago. But the truth is, in a closed system like an Earthship, Earthships are closed systems, which are more efficient. In Earthships, DC power works fine. So DC power does not work on the grid, but DC power does work well in a closed, energy-efficient system like an Earthship. The grid is very wasteful. It wastes a lot of energy. I don't need to talk about that. Stepping up and stepping down. In order to push energy far across the grid, it wastes a lot of energy. Earthships are not pushing energy across the grid, so they're conserving a lot of energy, not by doing that. Now, a lot of people confuse off-grid Earthships with, has anybody heard of grid-tied solar, where they give you like one of those bullshit tax breaks or something, and it's like a big scam, and it doesn't work? Honestly, yeah, because solar panels cannot be plugged into the grid. It doesn't work because you can't push DC energy that far off the grid. It's asinine. It's a scam. It's designed to fail. However, if you are fully off-grid, you can get by just fine with DC solar panels. It works. Earthships are more efficient, and if you're collecting that DC energy just a couple of feet away from where you're using it, it's not going hundreds of miles off the grid, so it works fine. So a lot of people say solar panels don't work. Liberal politicians are lying to you when they say we can just plug solar panels into the grid. They can't. They're lying. Conservative politicians are also lying to you. They say solar panels not enough for your life. That's wrong. It is enough to power your life. So they're both lying to you in just the right ways that prevent you from getting off-grid electricity. Isn't that odd? All right, I recommend 2 books. I mentioned Franklin, Edison, and Tesla. My favorite writer is Robert Greene, The 48 Laws of Power. Who's read The 48 Laws of Power? Yeah, great book. Had a good section about Tesla and Edison. I'm pretty sure that was 48 Laws of Power. I recommend those 2 books. This is very complicated stuff. When you wire up solar panels on a big Earthship, you can hook it up in parallel with all the positives and negatives. Some people might be familiar with this. Some people are not. We're going to be teaching this stuff on my website, triviumlinguistics.com. We're going to be teaching people how to do this stuff. So check in frequently. If you're a little bit confused by solar panels, but you want to know more, please ask me. I've got handouts for everybody here, too. So, yeah, Kelly's going to maybe help me hand these out in a minute here. This is called the Power Organizing Module. Kind of tight with time here. Okay, so our build is going to be very, very similar. We're not doing all these panels. We're designing a third world survival building. We don't need all this fancy stuff. Normal Earthships have these. We are taking all of this, and condensing it into just this. It's very small. It's called a Jackery, 240 watt hours. Very, very small, but it's enough to have lights at night, charge up your cell phone, and maybe pump a little bit of water, not much. This is what we need for third world survival. We don't need to power TVs in third world survival. We need to open things up so that poor people can start building Earthships as well. So this is how we're going to start. This is our first one, and then we're going to buy more and more as time goes by. So we're going to be using this little one just so we can have lights at night and charge up our phones, emergency third world survivals. Quick rule of thumb here for anybody buying solar energy. You don't know what you're buying, right? It could be a total scam. A general rule of thumb, $1 per watt hour when you're buying those little generators. If it's too cheap, it's probably not going to work. If it's too expensive, you're getting ripped off. This one costs $249, and it's 240 watt hours. So 240 for 249. That's about the $1 per 1 watt. The Jackery generator, 240 watt hours for 249. This is just to get us started. It's not enough for a full person to go off grid, but it's enough for a third world survival hut like we're trying to get started with. And then we'll get more panels later on. All right. But why this one costs $9? It says 240. Why that extra $9? This one allows us, has a little display screen that's going to help us. I need to roll here. All right, building materials. Why do we use tires? We see the different sizes of tires. I'll explain this to you. I'll explain the building materials over at our job site. Anybody wants to know more, I will gladly teach them over here at our job site in a little bit. We use tires because they're all over the world. They're free. You get free building material. Most people around the world don't have access to building material. Most people cannot go to Home Depot. So we said, hey, we'll design a way of building homes that third world people can just grab tires and start using. And yes, they are safe. They do not gas or anything like that. It's been proven, been many studies. They're sealed behind a wall of concrete. They are safe to build with. The sixth principle is Earthship sewage. I'm not going to get too much into this. It's called gray water and black water sewage. Earthships do a better job with gray water sewage. They don't just send it right down the drain. I'll talk more about that in a future display. This is the crux of it. Got it messed up here. If you want to bring autonomy to billions of people, this is the best way. Why the Earthships? Because they're made with ubiquitous material, natural methods, grassroots and decentralized. Nobody can take this stuff away from us, right? If you're building with tires, dirt, cans, and bottles, and you're using the sun and the Earth's cool temperature to build, no one can take that away from you. It's totally decentralized, and it's grassroots. Nobody's in control. So as soon as we get this information out to the world, I think it's going to start a cascade. My website is triviumlinguistics.com. I'm going to start, see if I can start handing these out. Can any of my friends want to help me hand these out? My colleagues here, thank you. Cheers. Yeah, my website there, triviumlinguistics.com. As I said, we're going to be teaching the kids at the orphanage how to build Earthships. What I want to say, I'm actually about to go get back to work over at the job site building the Earthship. So if you want to know more, please come back over and visit us. I will teach you everything that you want to know. And this is the first year that Anarchapulco is doing this, but I'm hoping that if it goes well, it can be a continual thing where we teach people how to build off-grid homes because, as I showed earlier with our basic needs, until we cover our basic needs, we're not going anywhere. Everyone's talking about crypto, health and wellness. That's great stuff. But until we get our autonomy with our basic needs, we're not going anywhere. So if you want to know more, come over to the build site. I will gladly teach all of you everything you want to know. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Enjoy the rest of your conference. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye-bye. All right, thank you. Woo. All right. Okay.
Chad, it felt like you had thousands of years of information to share, right? It was pretty incredible stuff. Nice job. You know what's a good sign when you see a speaker pulls out handwritten notes in their journal he's pulling through? That's fantastic. That's pretty good.